Good morning. My name is Ranger Erin, and this is Wednesday Wonders. Today's wonder, we're going to be asking the question of why do animals make calls? And you can imagine that there's more than one answer to this. So I've chosen to get up really early in the morning, just a little bit after sunrise, so that we can listen in the background to that dawn chorus. And that dawn chorus is a very special thing that a lot of our birds do. They'll wake up a little bit before sunrise, they'll sing even into a little bit after sunrise. It's one of the noisiest times of day, but only in a good way. So a lot of those birds are going to be talking to each other, just like we talk to all of our neighbors to find out what's going on, who's coming into whose territory, and maybe to find some mates. So those are a few reasons that we've already listed for why animals make calls. You can probably already start to imagine that the answer is very similar to why we make calls. Why do we talk to each other? Maybe we need to ask for something. Maybe we need to cooperate. Maybe we're looking for somebody. So all of these reasons are very similar. So one reason is that a lot of animals have their own territory. So that's where they get all of their food, where they sleep, where they have their water source. And they don't want to share it maybe with so many other animals. So they might make a warning call. They might say, hey, you're starting to get into my territory and it's time for you to leave. So that's something that you'll hear a lot of woodpeckers do. They don't make their call with their voice. They'll tap, tap, tap on some wood to make a really big noise that says, this is my territory. They're also going to use their voices. They're going to use their songs and their calls in order to find a mate. It's really important in springtime where a lot of animals are just ready to maybe start their families for the year. So they're looking for a mate. You might hear our spring peepers going crazy right now. Pretty soon some other frogs are going to join in with that and their special calls. We're also going to have special calls so that families can find each other. So a little fawn that has lost her mom, she'll bleat. She'll bleat out loud until that mama deer finds her. So it's a good way to find each other in the woods. Because sometimes you think about sound, sometimes you can't see very far. There might be trees in the way, but that call is going to travel even further, all the way around your head and down into valleys where maybe you can't see. So that voice is going to travel further than just some sight is. So finding each other is a good reason. We also maybe have some animals that are telling you that they are dangerous to be around. So maybe this isn't about territory, but if you think about that rattlesnake, or maybe that rat snake who's going to pretend to be a rattlesnake, they're going to shake some leaves or they're going to shake their tail and they're going to say, hey, stay away from me. You don't want to mess with me. I don't want to mess with you. Same thing with our deers. They're going to stomp their feet and they're going to hiss at us and they're going to say, I don't want to mess with you. You should give me some space. So asking for a little bit of space. One call that you might hear in our videos today is that of the goose honking. So our geese, they're traveling back up to those places, their summer stomping grounds, and they make a special call when they're traveling together because they have to know who's still with them and how close they are. So they're going to make that honking sound. And that's just to kind of say, I'm still here, I'm over here on your left, I'm over here on your right, we're headed this way, and so that they can kind of keep track of each other that way. You're going to hear different calls in different places. You're going to hear different calls at different times of day, and we'll explore that a little bit more. One thing to remember about animals making calls is that it's got to be super important to make that call, because most of the time it's safer just to say super silent, because that way a predator won't know where they are and they won't be able to sneak up on them. Or if they're the predator, if they make that noise, all of their prey is going to know that they're on the way. So most of the time it's a lot safer, a lot better for that animal to stay silent. So if they're making a call, you better believe that it's important to them for them to make that call. In this next set of videos, I want you to listen for as many calls as you can. They're going to be in different places and at different times of day. So you're going to hear those different animal calls. But I also want you to notice if there's any animals that you can see that are being silent. Maybe there's a reason that they're not saying anything at all. What calls do you hear in this pond habitat? Or this wetland? What calls will you hear at night? What calls will you hear in the morning? So the activities that I have for you to do for today or for the rest of this week are going to be to practice some animal calls. So we can make some animal calls with just some everyday objects that you're going to find around the house. The first one that I have is for our green frog. So the green frog, this is going to be their territorial call. They're these big old frogs that live around creeks and ponds. They really like wet areas, and all you're going to need is a big old rubber band. So you're going to stretch that rubber band tight. Be careful not to let that snap back at you or anybody else. And then you're just going to pluck it and listen to that sound. So that's going to be the sound of your green frog. You can practice that. It kind of has that twangy wong, wong that they're going to make to warn everybody else away. The next call that we're going to make is going to be the mating call of our cricket. And they don't, just like our woodpecker, they don't use their voice. They actually have special parts on their wings that they rub them together that are kind of like a comb. So if you have a comb in the house, you can try this out. All you're going to do is take that comb and you're going to run something hard, maybe your fingernail, along that edge and listen to that sound. That's that sound of that cricket. And you can practice that one as well. You can also see if you can find some other sounds around the house, or maybe you can just use your voice to mimic your favorite animal sound. So I'd love to hear whatever you come up with. Practice your favorite animal sound. This next activity I have for you, that a little bit of nature time. And again, whether you can just look out your window and listen, whether you can go to a backyard, or whether you can head out to your park. You're going to be listening to different animal calls in different types of habitats or different times of day. So if you can go out to a park, that would be great. Then maybe you could try out a prairie, sit quietly for about 5 minutes and listen and see, oh, I hear that bird over there. I hear that frog over there. Maybe you can figure out what they're trying to say and then compare it to a forest habitat or something like that. If all you have is your backyard or just opening up your window, then maybe you try it during different times of the day. So you listen early in the morning and maybe late at night and see how those calls are a little bit different. As always, I can't wait to hear back from you. Keep checking in with nature, and anytime you want to let me know what's going on, go ahead and comment in the comments or send it to my email, or you can also mail in any of your drawings or work or anything like that. And I'll see you around next time.